Hello ladies, gentlemen, and persons in between. My name is Tim Snowborn and welcome to the philosophy of Altered Carbon on this episode of Serious Issues. So last time I gave my review of the new Netflix series Altered Carbon based on the Takeshi Kovacs series by Richard K. Morgan. Today I'd like to get into some of the philosophy that jumped out at me as I watched the show. The first thing I noticed, apart from the issues of personal identity and mind-body dualism that I'll get to in a moment, was a bit of libertarianism at the hospital where Kovacs took Ortega after she was attacked by that crazy meth-worshipping guy who doesn't show up on camera. Remember how they wouldn't even check her in until they'd used her DNA to do a credit check on the spot? I saw that and thought, how very libertarian of them. Clearly a privately owned, profit-driven hospital that's probably barely regulated at all. The second philosophical angle I noticed was the issue of personal identity. I mean, it's a show where it's relatively easy to take a person's mind out of one body and put it into another. The physicalists out there don't believe in mind-body dualism. They believe that the mind is just a function of the body. They think the mind is just something the body does. I'm not sure that this really challenges the physicalist perspective, except, I mean, if stacks were a real thing, then you're clearly not your body. You're the stack. And if you can take a stack out of one body and put it into another, then who you are is the stack. If you can capture a person's consciousness in a stack, then they're clearly not the body. And this leads to some interesting scenarios, like when the black guy, Vernon Elliott, Lizzie's father, when his wife came back as this dude, I had to immediately think to myself, God, if I was married to someone, could I still love them just the same if they came back in an opposite gendered body? I mean, don't get me wrong, I have absolutely no problem with transgendered people, but that would be a rather jarring shift. I don't think I could do it. I mean, I could be friends with this person, even if they put my wife's consciousness into another woman's body. I don't know. To me, the body and mind are a package deal. If you don't have one, you don't really have the other. I don't think I could handle it if you took the consciousness of someone that I love and put it into a totally different body. And I think the people who say that that wouldn't make any difference to them are lying. I mean, I guess it wouldn't be such a big deal if it was like a friend of mine, someone that I was just friends with, or like a brother or sister, or someone that I wasn't romantically attracted to. If you put them in a different body, I'd have an easier time with it. But if it's someone that I am romantically in love with, and you put them in a body that I am not at all attracted to, I'm sorry. I can be friends with that person. I can no longer be their lover. Again, call me shallow if you want. The third philosophical angle that I noticed was rather unsettling to me because it challenged a long-held belief that I've had. It concerned Quellcrest Faulkner's whole thing about the wealthy being immortal and having godlike control over everyone else, to the point where they actually have worshippers like that ninja guy. This was rather jarring to me because I've talked a few times before about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The theory that if everyone's needs were provided for, everything from food, clothing, and shelter to safety and security, to a good education, to a good social circle, and a satisfying job, to self-actualization, if you satisfied all of those needs for everyone in a society, then there would be no anger, depression, any disharmony of any kind. The belief that anger, depression, anxiety, etc., those negative things, those all come from not having all of those needs met. And if you satisfied all of those needs, then those things wouldn't exist. And the idea that far in the future, when they have that level of technology, as they must have, is like 300 years in the future, you really would think by then that they would have solved, like, you'd think that in 300 years in the future, you'd think they would have found a way to feed, clothe, and shelter everyone and provide infinite clean energy and found everyone a job that's very fulfilling and no one would have, anxiety and depression and all that. You would think that at that level of technological advancement, they would have found a way to meet everyone's needs in that hierarchy. It was disconcerting to me to think that far in the future, things would be even shittier. that the wealthy would just control everything more than they do now. And then I realized we could probably feed, clothe, and shelter everyone now. We could probably do that today, but we don't. I still stand by the belief that if we met everyone's needs in that hierarchy, we would indeed have world peace. The problem is that we don't. And it was sort of disturbing to me to think that 300 years in the future, we still haven't done that. The inequality between the haves and the have-nots is so much worse in that show, and it's 300 years in the future. I really would have think we'd have that problem licked by then. It sort of leads me to another philosophical question that's probably the subject for another video, but basically, again, I consider myself an agnostic. I don't subscribe to any particular religion. I lean toward Buddhism and the belief that overcoming the illusion of dualism is the key to peace. And the idea that far in the future, that level of technology, that things would not only not be better, they'd actually be worse, it makes me wonder if, like, I've often wondered, what if we did satisfy everyone's needs? What if we did provide food, clothing, and shelter, social circle, good job, self-actualization? What if we did all of that stuff? Would that necessarily bring about world peace? I don't know that it would. I don't know that world peace would naturally result from meeting everyone's needs. It makes me wonder if overcoming the illusion of duality really is the key to lasting peace. Like, if we met everyone's needs, would we still have problems? I mean, obviously, again, I've talked before about, if we met everyone's needs, society's problems wouldn't go away overnight, because you would still have people who were raised in a world where their needs weren't met. And that kind of psychological baggage isn't going to go away in one generation. It's going to last for a while. The idea that a technologically advanced future could be just as fucked up or worse kind of lends credibility to the idea that if we really want true peace, we have to overcome the illusory nature of duality. The idea that the person who appears to be in here is separate from the world that appears to be out there. The idea that there's a separate me and a separate you. So tell me what you think, guys. Did you like the series? Have you read the books? Could you love someone if their consciousness were taken out and put into a completely different body? Do you think we'd achieve world peace if everyone's needs were met? Thank you very much for joining me for this conversation. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome. It's great to have you here. I would love to have you subscribe and check out my previous videos for more. If you're a current subscriber, welcome back. Thank you very much for tuning in again. I appreciate your continued support. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Peace.